Hello, loves. Hello, hello. Hills here from the blue flame. We have emerged from the lunar priestess eclipse wormhole. We have come through the balance point of the equinox, and now the sun is traversing the land of equanimity, Libra. Today, we are going to talk about some of the energies of this Libran transit of the sun. We're also going to talk about a triad, a trio of energies that are kind of traveling together. Venus in Virgo and Mars in Scorpio. Mars and the sun actually shifting signs at almost exactly the same time. There is an energy as we emerge out of this very activating cycle. Those of you who have been with the channel for a little while may remember back in June, I was talking about this kind of cyclical nature of this 2025 year, this transformational, transitional shedding of skin year that we are currently navigating, and how throughout it are interspersed with lots of activation, lots of quickening energy, lots of shifting, lots of transformation. Moments that allow or invite is a better way to say this, that invite stillness. They give us a pause, a reprieve from the more intense activating cycles, allowing for integration. This Libran transit of the sun is very much one of those phases. Having just come through the eclipse wormhole, having just prior to that moved through all of that Sirius energy as the Sirius soul conjunctions in the Lion's Gate set the table for that very, very powerful eclipse cycle. A time for the proverbial catching of the breath. Now, this is not to say there is not still a lot going on, because, oh yes, this is a 9-year. This is a year of completion. This is a year of transformation. We are shedding skin and looking around us, every single one, we can feel how much of that is moving through, right? Just looking at the world around us, we can feel it. But as our sensitivities, as that new skin comes to the surface, we've shed the old and the new is there, some time to get our bearings. Now, I mentioned that there's this trio of energy, and we have been playing with another trio of energy, Saturn, Neptune, and Uranus, for most of this year. And now all three are moving backwards, even as Mars and the sun have shifted signs. They are doing so in aspects to Saturn, Neptune, and Uranus. Like I said, this does not mean there's not anything happening. It simply means that we are having a little more time to catch our breath. And this is an invitation for us to rest, to find those places within us, to find our balance. That's Libra, right? I'll share that over in the members portal over on Circle, we are allowing this to be a 30-day practice of, or unpractice of, rest, unpracticing doing and allowing rest for integration, for deepening, and also without attachment to the outcome of that rest. So let's look at Venus in Virgo first. Venus entered Virgo before the sun shifted signs and before Mars shifted signs. Venus in Virgo, which will stay active until the 14th of October. So leaving sign and entering Libra while the sun is still there. There's a baseball term that is called batting cleanup. And in many ways, what Venus feels like she is doing in this transit is batting cleanup, coming through and making sure that everything that we did, that we experienced, that we shed, and that we reclaimed as we traveled through the Virgo sun and that very priestessy eclipse wormhole is in accordance with love. And that we are able to be in our heart space more wholly and more truly, collecting anything that may have gotten kicked up in the construction, shining a bright light on everything. And when we feel how Venus entered the 0 point of Virgo, where that first Virgo new moon was, just days before the solar eclipse, we can understand more the cadence of the sheet music that Venus in Virgo is inviting us to play. To come into a detail-orientated state of love, to really see wholly the picture of everything and everyone around us, to feel more completely all of it. There's a practical side to Venus and Virgo, finding those places where we maybe were holding on to a relationship that doesn't fit anymore is part of this energy. And when we come over to Mars in Scorpio, Mars entering Scorpio exactly with the sun entering Libra, Mars will transit through Scorpio from the 22nd of September through the 4th of November. So all the way through the sun's Libran transit. And as the sun shifts into Scorpio, Mars will still be there towards the end of that sign. So can you feel this energy that they're playing? Venus and Mars were sextile. They're still pretty tightly sextile at this moment, though Venus moves much faster. So that is loosening. But they're playing on either side, Venus and Mars, of the sun, Venus leading the way. And it is often said that the feminine leads the way. The feminine steps into action first. And when we hear the story of Sophia and Christos, we can connect to that as well, right? Sophia was the first, we can even feel it in the story of Adam and Eve. Eve invited Adam to take the bite of the apple. We are feeling this energy of the feminine both leading and following, because the way that the morning star Venus works is that the planet, she follows the sun through the sky, coming closer and closer until they meet in conjunction again, and then Venus reemerges as evening star and then leads the way. Here we have morning star Venus moving through the land that the sun has already traversed, and we have that pioneering, ambitious I am, our drive and purpose in Mars leading the way. Can we feel how they are working in tandem, in union with one another. Venus is leading from behind and Mars is following from the front. Neither is holding the entire reign, but rather they are working together. Now, Mars's journey through Scorpio is going to invite us. It has that capacity to invite us to feel those places where power has some stickiness in us. Those places where we're hiding our relationship to power. And when we remember that as Mars comes into the sun, Scorpio, it does so in an exact square to Pluto retrograde, we can really start to feel what's being laid down here, right? We can feel that our relationship to the powers that be are being transformed. Scorpio is the sign of transformation. It is the sign of hidden wisdom, that which has been occulted. It is a sign very, very closely conjunct to power and also to deeply feeling. It is of the three water signs, it feels the most deeply. But it is also a mutable sign, and so things can start to feel a little stuck and sluggish. So the sign of this energy with Mars, that very, very cardinal drive, let's move, is really helping to get things flowing. So this is all to say that as we move through the rest of September and into the first couple of weeks of October, Venus, Mars, and the Sun are working together in these three signs, which are all one right after the other, moving us, helping us feel where we can move and shift a whole quarter of the board forward, helping us to feel where we can clean up any old stories about where we should be and where we are, Venus and Virgo, helping us to come into a greater state of balance, of equilibrium as we move through the Sun in Libra, and really claiming, standing fully in our emotionality, not hot-tempered and fiery anger, unless that's what's called for, but whole. I am in the face of that which would seek to smother your fire. Now, these three signs make up what would be in the natal wheel the seventh, the sixth, the seventh, and the eighth houses. So Virgo represents that moment just before we tip above the horizon. And isn't it interesting that the sun in Libra rises just after Venus does in Virgo? Venus bringing us up just as we tip over the horizon, and then the sun in Libra bringing us more fully into connection with how we relate to the world around us. That's that seventh house energy. As Mars carries us into the sign of transformation and brings more power to our I am. Now, I said this is a time for integration, and that is really what we're talking about here. We take those pauses, we take those moments of rest. And right now in the members portal, we're starting with 5 minutes, and we're going to go from there to allow more of these energies to integrate within our being. Because by the time the sun starts to move into Scorpio, things are gonna get heated up again. We're kind of at that moment. If we look at the pendulum swing, we're balancing right there at the center point, getting ready for the next movement. So as we move through this energy, the 22nd of September through the 23rd or 24th of October, can we gift ourselves those moments of stillness so that we can more fully integrate our wholeness and remember the balance, that equilibrium state that gives rise. I almost said gives wise, and isn't that also just so perfect? That gives wise to the truth, which is the power of that I am. And I believe that is where I will be leaving us today. As we come into the first quarter moon on the 29th, I'll have a little bit more to share. Perhaps in a short, perhaps in a long update. We'll see where the energies guide. Until then, and in the always, so much and many loves to you from the dimensions of the all and beyond the beyond.